going to make a quick film about where Dad came from, his home in Malta. So first thing, let's just zoom over to the Mediterranean. So we've gone from Australia all the way to the Mediterranean, and now let's zoom into the island of Malta. As soon as we get there, we're going to see the very obvious harbour, the Valletta harbour, and the harbours coming in to Ground Harbour. And then as soon as we zoom in a little bit more, we're going to see a particular harbour, which is this one. This is called Pieta. So let's zoom into that one now. You see the word Pieta? This is his area. This is where Dad, when he was a boy, grew up. That was his area there where he swam, and his house was this little one just over here where my hand is. So that was the house where Dad grew up in, apparently. He was able to confirm that today. So we're just going to have a look at some of the landmarks and how we can identify that as Dad's house. So there's Dad's house on the left of screen. And on the right of screen, we've got the water of Pieta. At this point, we've got a building right here, which is flat and doesn't look like much, but actually used to be a church. And I'll be rotating the screen in just a minute and you'll see a bit more. And here we have a cemetery, an old military cemetery, and there's a door, there's a walkway into the cemetery here. Now I'm going to rotate this around and you'll see how we identified it for him with his help. I'm using Google Earth, which has been pretty handy. So this wall and this cemetery, Dad used to walk on his way to this church and also on his way to the water. So there's the water there, and he used to go there to swim. And we're just going to go back up the road, and we're going to go past the cemetery and have a quick look at his house. Initially we thought it might have been this one, but Dad said there were two balconies and there was two doors there. So that's when we get this one. So we're just going to rotate this. This makes this house over 100 years old. Well, in fact, most of Malta's very old. Oops, I've just gone too far, but it's okay. Okay, so this is the building. You can tell by these red cars. I know that's how I find it, but also I know that because of the two balconies and the door. I'm going to swing it around a little bit, hopefully get it right this time. It's very easy to get it wrong. Okay, and I'll zoom in again in just a second. So we're just zooming around to the front of Dad's old house, and here's not a bad view. So this is the two balconies and these doors here. Now, it's not a very clear picture. Joe should give us a better one soon. And this, in between, there was a wall. So on the right-hand side, there's where Dad lived in that particular area. Dad said that was his balcony, and that was the door that he used to access. Just going to swing it around now and have a bit of a look around the area. So this is the view from a few hundred feet above his house, and we're just going to, actually I'll try and turn it around to go around to his street. Oops, sorry, bear with me a sec. I'll tell you exactly where we are in just a second. So we're just about to go over Dad's street. I'll try and find you a good angle and we'll just walk down to the water. Okay, so here we are again, and I'll just get you from the beginning of the street. So here's Dad's house, just there, with the two balconies, which don't look like balconies from this angle, but they are indeed balconies. And then we have the street, which is called Triq Diluri. Triq Diluri, which means Our Lady of Sorrows. So Dad's street was called Triq Diluri, Our Lady of Sorrows. Walking down the street on his way to church on a Sunday, he would go past an old cemetery that was even before the war, well before the war, but it did have some soldiers in there and military graves in there as well. But it's a historic graveyard. He would go to this church, which doesn't exist anymore because, in his own words, the church crumbled the stones turned to powder. I don't exactly know what that means, but apparently it was so old that it was crumbling, so it had to be demolished. It was built apparently by the knights, that church. As we go down a bit further, we're going to go through some trees, which is interesting, because in Malta there aren't that many trees. And here we are in Tapieta. Now this is something that was quite charming. Dad said he swam from that area there all the way across to the other side. So he would swim from here, he said diagonally, to around here somewhere. That's zooming out now. Not a bad place to swim. Looks pretty safe. Alright. And of course there's a fort pretty close by. These are fortresses around here. Zooming out now, we'll just go back one more time and then we'll say goodbye. So we'll go back, turning it around. Hopefully I'll get this right now. And yep, that looks good. So we'll say goodbye to his house. We'll go in one more time. There's his house. There's Tapieta coming up the street. There's his house right there. And we can see the harbour of Valletta. So remember, he's here in Tapieta, around here, and there's Valletta, the city, the main city. So he lived in a pretty good spot there because he was pretty close to the main city of Valletta. And that's where his location was on the island. So that's Tapieta there. That's around where he was on the island. Thank you for watching.